inappropriate.
I'm in gym clothes too.
Yeah.
Also, I think forums, like online forums, can be
man.
really social and
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah, any kind of it really comes down to people, their access to you, and I would say what I would call entertainment. You have stats that could be entertaining. You've got Angry Birds. My new one is that thing where I'm trying to flip a bunch of money called Make It Rain in my virtual company. You know, I'm making it rain all day, but when I'm doing it on this virtual iPad game, I'm not doing it in real life, so that can be a problem.
That game is kind of annoying. Also, one that I do want to point out in the 8 here that we've been through is internal distractions. Like, say you have a big project that you got to work on for your business and you just had a fight with your partner, or you're having family issues, or you're stressed out, or you have poor health, there's something else on your mind. Those things can be a distraction as well. And they're not something you would immediately think about when you think about distractions. But that's something you got to consider as well. It's anything that's pulling away your mental attention from what you're doing in the moment.
Yeah, my mother went to the hospital probably about 4 months ago, and it was one of those things where you think it's the flu, and then it turns out, hey, mom's in surgery, we got to do it right now.
Yeah, she was trying to take Pepto-Bismol.
Yeah, one minute she's taking Pepto, and the next minute she's having this surgery at like 2 a.m. in the morning, emergency surgery. And something like that is a huge distraction. Not only the night that it happened, where you're not sleeping and you're waiting for these last-minute calls, but the recovery process or whatever's next, whatever that can be. So there are a lot of things just going on, and I really admire those people. I think a tip for distraction, you know, probably the best example of this that I've ever seen is Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton is president of the United States, and he's got this whole crazy sex thing with Monica Lewinsky. So you can imagine that would be a big one, right? But he's still got to run the U.S. He appeared to me to be very good at compartmentalizing, and watching him has really been an inspiration to me, as far as just because everything else is going crazy in your life doesn't mean that it's an excuse for you not to take care of what you need to. You've got employees, perhaps, that are counting on you. You've got projects that need to get done, and you're not going to help anybody if you just stop working and money stops coming in.
Well, I want to point out as well that all the distractions that we just listed, and the 8 ones that we listed that you kind of summed up, but I said environmental, communication, entertainment, stack checking, which could be entertainment, technology, people, social, internal. It's not necessarily that those are all bad things. Obviously, you want to spend time with your partner or your family. You need to answer emails. Maybe you need to check Google Analytics or the stock market. Like, it's not that those things are inherently bad. It's just that timing is everything when it comes to distraction. So productive activity performed at a bad time becomes a distraction. So it's not that these things aren't important to do, and it's not that you don't need to focus on your mother's recovery or anything like that. It's just you have to figure out how to balance, and what you said with Bill Clinton, how to compartmentalize and how to deal with these distractions in a way that you're productive about it, and it's not taking away from what you are trying to do with your life and with your business.
There's a great book. It's called Power of Full Engagement, and the way it's written by 2 guys, I think, and I don't remember their names offhand, but we'll put it in the show notes. He talks about most people living in a gray area, which is just a mixture of black and white. But black and white is what we should be living in. When you're at work, you need to be at work. When you're at home, you need to be at home. It's not fair to those around you for you to be elsewhere. But we're constantly distracted. And a lot of it is because of the things that we mentioned. A lot of it are the internal things that we have going on. And sometimes just distraction is just that resistance, as we talked about earlier, that's keeping you from doing your work. And
I think that's what you have to figure out is it just a distraction, what's going on? Because sometimes it is. Sometimes you forgot to turn your phone off and it's blowing up with text messages, and that's just a distraction. But if you're chronically distracted, then it's probably a deeper issue, which we can talk about resistance on another episode, because I think that's a big topic. But I have something that works for me that I can go over if you like, David. It's kind of like a little 4-step thing that you can do to deal with some of these distractions.
Yeah, that would be very helpful to me right now.
Yeah, me too, because I just wrote
I'm
about
playing
it.
this game right now. I wasn't going to admit it, but I'm sitting here counting my money on making it
You better
rain.
not be. I wouldn't put it past you, though. You're very excited by that game. Well, I think first what you have to do is you have to create awareness of the distraction. Because if you don't know that you're being distracted, because a lot of these things that you're doing are important, so you might feel like you're working when you're Twittering or something like that, but it's just turning out to be a distraction because you're doing it in the middle of your workday, or you're doing it when you should be doing something else. So you have to create awareness of what you're doing. And
stop justifying it.
Stop justifying it.
Let me take it back to another musician example. Musicians, they used to say, well, I'm adding friends on MySpace. Those guys might become fans. And it was amazing to me how many people thought that. So they would just click, 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 calling it work, but it's not really work. Mm-hmm. And I think we can do that with Twitter. Just get honest with yourself. And I do that by asking, is this making me money? If it's not, don't do it.
Yeah. So I think write down, and that might be the second part, but write down all your distractions. Like look at your past week. Say, okay, what was I supposed to get done? Did I get it done? If not, what was distracting me? What was keeping me from getting it done? And also write down any of the other 8 causes of distractions that resonated with you that we talked about. And then what you said is the second one, I would say go through that list and circle the ones that are really important to you. Or to your business. So that's going to be, you have to check your email. You need to spend time with your family. Maybe you need to go to networking events. These are things that are really important. And so schedule time in your calendar for those events. Don't just do it randomly. Don't do it on a 5-minute break. Don't just think you'll throw it into the day. Schedule it in. Like for me, I check email. I don't check it in the morning. If I open my inbox in the morning, I'm screwed. I check it after lunch every day. So I have a scheduled time to check my email, and then I check it before dinner.
Well, you're very deliberate about your day. You start off knowing what you need to get done instead of just reacting to other people's deadlines. Their deadlines don't become your deadlines. Their problems don't become your problems.
Totally. But I think you have to make these things that are distractions and turn them into part of your schedule and into priorities. And with the other stuff that you talked about, like if you're just adding people to MySpace and that's not making you a dime, it never has, it never will, nix that stuff. What I do is, I actually haven't done this in a while, but what I've done in the past is I write out on a Post-it note like warning or distractions, and I list out my distractions, Twitter, Facebook, whatever, and I stick it on my computer screen. And then when I start to do something like that, I'm like, oh yeah, okay, that's just a distraction. I need to get back on track. And that just kind of helps me create awareness of where my time is going, where I'm putting my energy, and to constantly get back on track and to make the stuff that is important, turn it from a distraction back into a priority and build it into my day.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm going to write you a Post-it note right now. Distraction, make it rain.
I'm sorry, I was playing it again. I lost. I didn't hear anything you just said. What's the next thing?
I'm going to be an angry bird if you just keep playing that. I'm just going to say that. Anyway, well, do you have any other thoughts on distractions? I think we're running out of time today.
I'll just say this, that the biggest distraction is you. We can blame our lack of getting things done because of kids or spouses or day jobs. But if you were to do what they call a time bank and write down everything that you're doing, there are programs that will help you do this. They'll be like which is very distracting, a little buzzer pop-up thing that'll come up every 15 minutes, and you say, well, what did I do this last 15 minutes, or what did I do this last hour? And you do it into quadrants, and then it'll add everything up. There are also automated programs that will do that, show you where you're spending your time, and you can start to really see what it is that you're doing. And you have to do it for 7 days, by the way, because a Sunday is going to be different for most people than Wednesday, or Friday is going to be different from Saturday. So it may be worth doing a time bank and finding where you're spending your time. I think if you're not deliberate, and most people are not, you'll be surprised at the amount of time that you're wasting and the amount of time that you can get back by just being aware. Now, I will say this: a lot of times, people, I see these guys, Laurel. I know you've seen them. We've been to like meetup groups or some of these networking distractions where people will say, "Oh, hey, here are the best 10 apps you should download for time management." That's a distraction. You don't need any kind of special apps. You just need to be aware of how you're spending your time, and on the things that aren't working for you, don't do those. So that's my final thought.
I like it. Don't do
All right. Was that it?
I think that's it.
Another one in the can.
Awesome.
Thank you for listening. Go to redpodcast.com for more information from us. And if you've got a question, send it to us. You can do that via Twitter. Just redpodcast.com has everything. You can get connected directly to us. Send it to us via Twitter, and we'll try to answer it on a future episode. Thank you, Laurel.
Awesome. Thanks, David.
See you next time.